go ahead and get started. It's a small group, but we're excited to present this work to those of you here today. And then we'll all go and have some dessert and see if there's champagne. Did anyone see that? No, I just think I just made that up. So our session this afternoon is about fostering student collaboration and engagement in science, although you can fill that in if you have another disciplinary interest, through summer research. And so my name is Meg Bentley. I'm the Director of STEM Partnerships and Innovation, and I'm in the biology department. And we're going to have the other three introduce themselves, and then we'll leap in. So.
Hi, everyone. I'm Chelsey Brown. I am the Program Manager for the NASA DC Space Grant Consortium and the Integrated Space Science and Technology Institute, which are both over in the physics department. I've been at AU for 4 years, and sugar is near and dear to me because that was the first project I worked on when I got here. So I'm excited for you all to learn about it.
Hi, my name is Marjan Alaghmand. I'm faculty member at chemistry, and I'm very happy to work at SUGER program.
Hi, Happy New Year. I'm Babak Kasmaei from physics. I'm happy to be from physics because I see my godfather of our department and godfather of sugar, perhaps. I've been a coordinator of sugar in the past 2 years, 24 and 25. So I'm excited about this talk.
Great. All right. Where did our little... Thanks. Okay. So this sugar presentation, and I'll tell you what sugar means in a moment. It's sugar. Is all about it basically sugar is our summer professional development for students doing research on campus in the STEM fields. And so we have been, there's a full team that we're going to talk about that makes sugar happen, promotes sugar, allows sugar to run each summer. But Marjan and I are going to do most of the presentation here. But of course, we're a small group, so we're going to ask you to chime in at some point. So sugar. Sugar actually is an acronym for something, and we realize it's misspelled. But SUGER stands for Summer Undergraduate and Graduate Experiences in Research. So SUGER is a program that happens in the summer on campus at AU. So when anyone ever tells us campus shuts down or gets quiet in the summer, we're all like, what? That's like where we do most of our fun work, right? But what we're going to talk about today is just an overview of what sugar is, give you a little history of how the impacts it's had, how we developed it, the impacts it's had on our students and our community. I think it's really powerful for our summer community and our STEM community. And at the end, we're going to highlight some research from our students. And in the middle of this, we're also going to ask you for ideas about topics. So get your brain juices flowing. I'm a biologist. They're brain juices. Okay. So the history of sugar. So SUGER, which is our summer professional development workshop series for our students who are physically on campus. That did change a little bit through COVID, right? But it was developed with the NASA DC Space Grant Consortium that Chelsey works with. I am the brand new director of that, so I always forget to tell people that I'm involved with that. But so AU, in partnership with DC Space Grant and the STEM departments, actually developed the SUGER program. And remember, it reaches our undergraduates and graduates. So it's anyone who's doing research in the summer is welcome to participate in this. And I think this is pretty spectacular. It's been running since 2011. So this is going to be does that make 2026 our 15th year? Maybe we should have a 50, I don't know what the Jubilee, a 15th anniversary Jubilee. What is the 15th? Oh, quinceañera. We should, yeah, that's right. Sugar is about to have its quinceañera. That's actually not the worst idea I've ever heard. Anyway, really what sugar is about is it is designed to complement the research that students are doing on an individual level with individual faculty on their research projects or in their research labs. But what it does is bring students together to sort of talk about the other things that you, not the content or, hey, I can't solve this problem, or someone, tell me about quantum physics, but what are the other skills that I need to develop as a scientist that I can build and learn about and see manifest in scientists who have, graduated from graduate school. Sort of learn about these skills that are necessary to being a good scientist and a successful scientist. And there's an emphasis on career exploration, career building, interdisciplinary work, collaboration, communication. And we align all those skills with all the critical thinking skills, the content development, the oral and written communication science skills that normally happen. And this is really based on something that a lot of science students do during the summer, which is a research experience. And so NSF, and this is still ongoing, NSF actually supports and funds, and not just NSF, which is the National Science Foundation, but a lot of other organizations, support summer cohort research experiences that include opportunities to do research, but also are really intentional about doing professional development for students. So back, I think when we were developing this, or when those folks who were developing, they were really inspired by these REU programs that really bring students together to learn about sort of all the accessory and peripheral things you need to know as a scientist to actually be successful. So this is really kind of our own little, AU research experience for undergraduates. And it's so I think that is important to just give you that context for SUGER. And really we have learning outcomes that are not, do this experiment, reach this specific aim, write this paper, present, right? But they're about career exploration and sort of and professional and social development. So again, the learning outcomes that we hope our students think about and participate in and achieve throughout the summer are things about career exploration and professional identity development, exposure to diverse career STEM paths. It's not all about how do I get into grad school. We do talk about that, but we also try and expose students to a wide variety of career paths and people, right? Beyond AU. And so when Marjan does the middle of this, she'll talk about some specifics. We do focus on communication and research presentation skills because at the end of the summer, we have a poster presentation. And so we try and set everyone up for success. We talk about community. So we also do community building just because we gather once a week. And we're hoping that we basically help students sort of gain confidence in being a scientist and being in a scientific community and building connections with each other, right? And the external science community. And STEM is small at AU, right? So I think the moment of summer is actually a real opportunity for our students to see each other and really get to know each other and learn about what they're doing without the added distraction of doing classes, which can take a lot of time during the academic year. So the format. So basically, for SUGER, we run for 8 weeks, and that's pretty typical of these research experiences that are federally or privately funded. And we invite any student who is doing research in a STEM field on campus. And we have tried to start absorbing students in a hybrid mode. That can be very difficult. But we basically go for 8 weeks in June and July. We meet once a week, okay? And we have lunch, which is really critical to the success. Food is always a good grab. And we have lunch, and then we have about an hour of panelists talking. And basically, we usually have like 3 to 4 invited speakers, both internal speakers and external speakers. DC is a science city, right? We've got lots of agencies. We've got lots of scientists. And our faculty have a big network. So we're going to start to use your network too, right? And so we invite panelists to talk about a particular topic that we'll show you in a minute. And we prepare them. We don't just throw them the answers or throw them, put them on the spot. But again, they're talking about not their research necessarily, although that does come up. They're talking about career paths, how they made choices, if they made mistakes. We talk about things like failure and success. So again, a wide range of STEM topics, disciplines, and career paths. Because we have lots of cross-disciplinary, we have like 10 or 11 departments that our students come from. We can't always have like a physics day and an environmental science day. We really do try and be interdisciplinary. We have tried in the past to incorporate field trips, games. Last year, we tried salsa. That was sometimes fun. Sometimes people stuck around, depending on, what they had to get back to. And then finally, we have a poster showcase highlighting all the research that students are doing at the end of the summer. So we don't lose that research piece. We sort of end with that and talk about that. I think this is our transition. That's it. And that.
Hi. Thank you, everyone. As Meg said, we have 8 weeks, normally 8 weeks or 8 sessions for SUGER. And we have different topics. In summer 2025, these are the topics that we covered in each session. Introduction, icebreaker, doing science and research in current climate, publishing, authorship, and communication, resiliency in research. July 9, we talked about career in science and DC as a science city, making poster and attending in the conference, and getting to graduate school and funding research and education. So we have a funny picture here that so in session 7 we talked about how to fund our education and our research, and then it was on July 23rd, and then so we had very good we found good resources for funding our research or education. So I wanna so the last but not the least was the poster presentation by students. Let me use calculator. We are posters. All right. In each session, as Meg said, we have 3 to 4 speakers, internally and externally, and then we invited. These speakers are from AU University. They are professors, professionals, or other universities. They are from industry. They are from government. So basically, we had a variety of different speakers, and then the example of speakers who presented in SUGER since 2020. 2 is here. So you can see that we have different speakers from different sources. So who makes SUGER possible? So we had both internal and external sources to support us. So basically, SUGER was supported by Vice President of Research Office, NASA DC Space Grant Consortium, AU STEM Department, faculty and staff, student researcher, and also SUGER Program Coordination and Logistic Team. So right now, Babak and I are coordinator. Meg is a program leader, and they are in logistic team, and then Chelsey is a program manager, Chelsey is also in logistic team. But we had other faculty members who were coordinator, and unfortunately they are not here, but Jenny and Michelle was the previous logistic team. All right, so the objective of SUGER is connection to community. So SUGER is an excellent bridge between faculty and professional and students, and also make it a strong STEM community on campus. So basically, this is very important for us because our community is small. So basically, it's a very good opportunity for people who are interested in research, and then they can make a strong community and in sugar. So the other one is connecting academic research to real world impact. So many students doing academic research, but they don't know how to connect it to real world impact. So when they see the professional, when they see the faculty and professors, they can feel it, they can understand how to connect these things to real world impact. And the last one is encouraging mentorship and collaboration. This is very important. Our students should understand that collaboration is really important to be able to continue their research and their studies. All right, so we received some good experiences from students. So the testimonial shows that, and then SUGER has a transformative impact on research, their student research skills, professional development, and the sense of belonging to the STEM community. So as you see from the testimonial, students are welcome and they are comfortable when they are participating in SUGER. They feel that SUGER is inclusive, and also they love to see speakers. So these are very, very good opportunity for them to see speakers. They might not be able to travel to Yale, but when the professor coming from Yale, they understand, oh, there is someone over there who are interested in their research, or there's someone from NASA, or we had different faculty or professional from different places. So they met each other and they talked together, and they got some good internship for their future career, and then they could build their future career. And some of the students said that they participated in SUGER, they understood what they want to do after graduation. So some of my students, when they talk to me, they don't really know what to do. Should they go to graduate school or not? Should they go to industry or so? When they come to SUGER program, they understand and they get connected to the professionals and faculties, and then they can understand what they want to do. Now I'm going to pass the thing on.
Okay. So does anyone have any questions about SUGER? Or any, I know some of you have participated in SUGER. I'm looking in Nate Harshman's direction. Do you have any questions or I don't know.
You have been fully.
Yeah. Oh, you went to the presentations. Wonderful. Okay.
But like
She was the initiator of.
the trust, they what did the lady.
Catherine Walters Conte, I believe. She was yeah. And it's good. The name is really great. And I'm going rogue here. SUGER is our summer program. And because it's been so successful and we didn't want to limit the outcomes to just the students who are able to stay here during summer, we have developed a an academic year professional development program called SPICE. So we have SUGER and SPICE. And so SPICE happens on, sort of 4 Wednesdays throughout the semester. And so if we advertise, so sometimes students are like, why is it called SPICE? And then we have to tell them about SUGER, which is like, so they're like, okay. So we are going to do the quinceañera of SUGER. Is coming up next summer. But we kind of, and so again, we showed our 8 topics that we have. We sort of have either 7 or 8 sessions and then a poster session. But we want to get your brain thinking. We want your input about potential topics that you think are really either timely or things you think, oh, how can you not talk about that? So this was our interactive portion. I think we were going to get into groups, but maybe we'll give you a minute or 2 to think, and then we can write down your ideas. So there's only a few of you, so I think every one of you has to come up with one answer if you're comfortable with that. So we want to hear what kinds of topics, and it doesn't have to be, realistic necessarily, right? If you think it's an important content for a summer, for an undergraduate or graduate student in science right now to learn about, then I think we'll try and make it work. And we'd also like to hear about whether there are any activities that you know about that are also like, this is one model for developing community and sort of getting students to meet each other outside of academics, but in sort of an academic adjacent way. So if you have any other models of how you do this in your units or departments or offices, we'd love to hear about it as well. Would you like a minute to think, or you want to just go? Yes, Dr. Harshman.
One thing that I think they don't see the fact that the campaign to the right then go see that good. You got this, but that one, you got his dog. You have to like, yeah,
Used to just want to say that actually. One story from this year was that we had someone from Amazon, right? One of the speakers and panel speakers from Amazon. And then that was a great session. I think it was about careers outside the academia. Then the next week, one of our students from physics department told me that I actually received an offer for internship from Amazon after talking with that person. So I was happy that this happened very quickly. Okay, so the students could not go there to Seattle. It was in Seattle, the headquarters. But that happened. So that was one story that which happened. The other thing that you mentioned, the professional societies, in particular, this year, we have a Canvas page for SUGER. And we decided that we put the links and probably we had a little bit of a description about each one of these societies. If I recall, it was the session we decided that the session with Matt Harting was there. And then we said, okay, so maybe we asked the students first who is in APS, American Physical Society, and or the other societies from chemistry, biology. I should say, like always, physics 1, because more students from physics department, they were already connected to the APS. But then we put all of those links in the Canvas page so students could go check and see if there is something there, a scholarship or conferences. But if you have any other suggestions to do that even better and more, be happy to hear that.
And I think societies definitely come up with each other that conferences, ways to support students studying the conferences. But I don't think we've ever had anyone from the societies representing the society.
You can say the Catherine at APS.
Yeah. But depending on what the topic is, like we've never had a topic that's professional society, which might rely, gel or something else or content of something yet. But we tried to have activities or action items like associated. And so one of those might be like, hey, try and join a society this summer. Like maybe we have a prize, sometimes programs prize it. But maybe we should, I think like they did that.
Yeah.
And it's a good alternative career as well as a scientist to be involved in the society.
Now, to be honest, that I just recalled, because that is not it was not official part of SUGER. It just happened. So I think we should just keep that on the list always, right? Just from the beginning, tell the students that these societies, that this year that just happened in the discussions, but that should be, I think, one essential part of SUGER every year. Because as I remember, many students, they didn't even know about society.
Hi.
Whether they have what?
I think my first year, but I think it's about then. But the time they didn't want to. But the that bank, but then they are about and they've been higher. And I think like the big way how you get paid by each other the we have to take in body from like uh what bank that they are looking for you often operate to take their money. Or you discuss this not like and how much they do that would match that but like what you say but it's not they think that the town voice brain fucking you know not and they don't mind what sort of breath you uh I think doing it bad uh I think like I very this but you is a so carry yeah right interesting anyway that lasted throughout the year we got a sell it so them but there was a certain stuff the worst thing about fire that like problem is that I did got me to go into the kitchen going to me he's dead in the prison so I hate fires specifically that they dead here in the third game and then the dioxin and then there's it. So if you have to like he did it to them before he's not necessarily the right and it even match that essentially, but he's like where you down to you without job and I was done there. I think like a buddy here and you know like I don't sugar babies and sugar dad. They sure nothing about that though.
Let me fix that. We will combine sugar and fire and we'll get caramel.
But yeah, we're even look at into university and DCSGC did it. But it's kind of like how the area level is because I think a lot of students they this use that a lot of students that I work with have like this like concept that they take bring it out like so it's just if it giving some they they see that this is the get a down on that it's a target that baby say let's say it period yeah the thing that doesn't work for something that takes like look at it's like that's bigger than they a lot of it to get but like something I don't know if it's a funny turn up something like that where you not think of that that's the feeling of the video for it can't be a good to the culture this you know, they kept the yeah he the he died that they and I think they probably did and he's going to be then studying because there and he at the I think they have a there to you guys so why do that why have someone around you yeah they need to sort of
One thing else, I have to use microphone. Just now, because speaking of other universities, this year another story. I was happy to see someone just volunteered. I don't remember her name, but we had a poster presentation from someone who was from other universities. Do you remember her name? You can.
Yeah, University of Wisconsin-Madison. She just randomly emailed me and said that I'm in the area and I want to present my research at the end of the summer and can I present at SUGER? And she came to a couple sessions and she presented at SUGER. I believe she was researching at the Naval Academy and she brought in some folks that were mentoring her in her research. So yeah, the word is spreading and it's
It's a good story. Yeah, it worked out well.
Yes, yeah. But maybe you can say things to the culture that say yeah.
Just can advertise as well.
I think there's value to having, but maybe an end of the summer poster session.
I joined a community band, and the person who sits indoors, there are two people now with me, as a researcher at Walter Reed. The manager started talking with Sweet about like some of those kinds of collaboration. It's like every time that I go to Chemical Society in Washington meeting, like, yeah, at least this is hard. You were like, oh, we want to work together on something. Like, cool. And they say, damn, three that I'm like, don't interrupt. But, and yeah, I would still like it. Vicky or the Dean Sumner, but Vicky did talk about this today. The deans are working on a faculty developed for a faculty course model that can support faculty having a number of students do research, but like for faculty being from 15, I don't know, that something like that all that has to be figured out. But then this intergenerational mentoring can happen more. I know that anymore, but like when I did, I was expected that my juniors and seniors were like mentoring of students. It wasn't just take over my project and I leave, but also like helping them understand, the technical pieces and then the not technical pieces of the site. I don't know if that's something that people a lot here in the culture, but we really beneficial.
Have we done a mentorship? Mentoring comes up frequently, in a lot of the sessions.
Yeah, we go over kind of how to do a cold email, things like that, if you're trying to target someone specifically. But we could lead into it more.
We'll get to that.
And we do have, you have the mentoring program that runs throughout the school year, but I don't know if we talked about that a lot.
I think a lot of folks have identified a mentor already.
Yeah.
They are locked in. Well, so we could talk about cultivating that mentoring relationship and what questions you should ask at the beginning of a research project, right? And maybe we could have a session where the students are a little older and have been in a research lab for a couple of years, actually say like, this is what you should be asking, like this is how I managed learning what seemed like a massive amount of information at the very beginning and how I realized I had gained competency in some field or something. So we could sort of do a little mentoring within the context of resiliency. Yeah.
So I've been on about this before. What is a participation of faculty mentors like? I think mentoring a faculty student, peer mentoring somebody, but I do think there are skills one can be taught. I'm not advocating like 8-hour training, whatever. But I think there is some faculty mentorship guidelines. I know at DC Space Grant, we've talked about trying to sort of set up a few guidelines for people who get space grant funding to mentor students, just so they have some sort of baseline of the kinds of conversations we want you to have with your students being the project. But so generally, at SUGER, what is faculty mentor participation like? How would you rate that?
I think they stay for lunch and skedaddle. I think that's normally the format for that.
But they do come to lunch?
They do come to lunch.
They come to lunch. I would like it to be higher. Yeah, definitely. And maybe formalizing that in a way where maybe we could formalize that a little bit, but not make it so onerous that it's an additional thing that faculty have to do over this.
But in this thing, you also talked about lunch. There is this idea of trying to formalize mentorship to credit and incentive.
So that's or it will be part of both, depending on the quantitative and some of the
Yeah, if there's a new conference to teach plan for all students have experiential learning things,
Exactly.
that SUGER could
is way to hit a lot of
swelling in its population.
Yeah, you cannot leave this on the backs of the faculty without the directing.
But that is very okay. And to your point, there really may be a need for this in some of the social sciences too. That would.
Yeah, that is absolutely one thing. If I think this is a model that we've adapted for the sciences, but I think you could absolutely adapt this for any kind of community or any kind of cluster. We're in CAS, and you could do this for the arts cluster, right?
Yeah, I know two graduates from the MX Degree Data Science here. One of them is working in IMF, and the other one is working in the World Bank. And I think those guys are the best, like, if they present that opportunity to here.
Yeah. I mean, that's where really the magic happens. When we can get an alumni who is working at the World Bank, who can talk about their impact of sugar on their research experience, that is like the trifecta of how we know this is working and those students come back.
This year, I invited one of the speakers from my dance classes, and I know a few people from Harvard. So okay, I can do that something.
And that's the other interesting thing. So one of the roles of the faculty coordinators, which Babak and Marjan are this year, and that's like I don't know, that's like runs for 5 years until they can't take it anymore, or they find something more interesting to do during sugar, but during the summer. But I think that also is what students see, is the network that scientists have, because they forget that faculty are human and have things there. So that's part of this too, right? And so I think seeing how our speakers are actually connected to our faculty through either professional networks or classes, or we did postdocs together, or we met each other at a conference. Seeing how those networks form is actually sort of one of the hidden things that I think our students probably, that's not like an intentional thing, but I think they learn about that. And that's exciting as a scientist. And science is also, I mean, I guess academia is very international. So I think we have a lot of we have people from all sorts of countries. They've traveled all over the world. I think that's something students don't necessarily think about as they are pursuing science, that like you could travel the world as a scientist. So I think some of those little gems come out when they present that menu to them.
And you all are often participating with Kasmaei Awards and Career Center and various advisors too, right? I mean, that's also a really nice thing about the program, right? Is it actually raises awareness of those people to STEM students, but also extend to
those people. Exactly.
And we should say you really appreciate their input. They're always excited to be part of the
And I think the students appreciate those folks STEMifying their content, right? Because usually they go to these sort of general workshops. And so it's an opportunity to see the resources on campus. And maybe that's an idea for it. Like, how do these resources on campus translate into your STEM development? Maybe we should talk about the core in whatever iteration that's going to be in. I think one year we did talk about, and the core I just changed. I think we talked about how the core and STEM would fit together. But this year, I also think talking about what R1 means is a good opportunity.
This year, I mean, there is a retraction in many graduate programs in the number of student offers they're making. I've had more interest in students in international grad schools than I've ever had before, looking for opportunities and looking to political. So there has been more of that. I mean, it's up. So I'm not very good at advising about international graduate programs.
So
that is something that I think is a development we got. And also, I mean, literally the grad school application landscape has changed. In history and physics, you didn't have to know who your advisor was when you applied to grad school. You would just get somebody when you were there. And now I've heard in multiple places, they're trying to pair students with advisors in day one.
Because of the money.
Because of the money.
Yeah.
Because the department can't go.
Yeah, that's right. And so
what is it? That is the usual in other countries.
Yeah.
That's that's the U.S. system.
But then in other countries, they do the master's degree first.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, so maybe we ought to change. Yes, so your master's sort of separate from a PhD.
Maybe
What's the acronym? I guess means that you have both undergraduate and graduate six. But what is the breakdown of six?
you should actually want to show the students, right? You have a slide.
That's later.
That's later. Okay, but there are examples.
It is primarily undergraduate.
So it sounds like what your program is mostly concerned about is the academic path. Is that right? And
Well, I think we do talk about graduate school as that, and that is a path. We intentionally do not talk about medical school because that can be covered somewhere else. But we do try and invite speakers who don't have a PhD. It can be tough because sometimes they don't wind up in like an agency or an institute. But we do try and highlight things that are non-academic.
About do you have any idea what percentage of the undergraduates wind up going graduate school? Just say.
Really good question. Do you? I think we can pull it. You in the yeah.
It's about 30. It's about 1/3.
You think it's about 1/3?
For physics majors,
For physics.
That's for all things.
go straight.
For physics.
It's sugar.
In this program.
And I would that's even
I
higher.
think that is probably higher, but that's probably a stat we should have at our fingers. That's a great idea. Yeah.
We are that long story short, that's like big thing that's talked specifically about we as undergraduates are good well. This is one of the things that we start putting the seat at the we got any more faculty members also really in front that they have birthday stage to look at the seat the fall rather than the balancer. And so when we have that kind of thing, we're like those are the things that will get more invested.
Yeah, I think, and that was one of our hopes for putting this together too, was thinking about like what are those stats we should have at our fingertips to demonstrate them.
Yes, that relates to the thing that I just wanted to say. As a physicist, we love to perturb and play a little bit with the assumptions. So if you had something, can I go back in one of the slides? And this is the outcome. Yeah. Every year I've been more and more worried about this part. Are we really increasing the confidence of the students about their post-graduation goals? I'm really not sure about that anymore.
You mean sugar or
in general, including sugar. Including sugar.
We are doing that.
Are we doing this? Really? Are we being successful at all? So maybe the stat of just having a survey, asking the students how do they feel about their post-graduation goals. I'm not sure that the students are
in the graduation
certain about it.
I'm sure we asked those questions in the graduation survey. I'm sure we did. Well, we could break it down.
But yes, I'm not happy about how this is going.
System that we're about to take out later Fridays why with ETS that help us there. I highlighted it in the fall in my class. We got to go bio in the depth. So we'll be okay and disaggregate it. There's a depth too.
Yeah. Well, I worry about the gap years that the students are taking too many times. They're saying, I'm not so sure about my path, so I'm going to have a gap year.
Depends on what you're doing in a gap year.
Yeah.
Can be really bad.
They are not sure about that as well sometimes. I'm just curious, this playing with this assumption that we are just actually increasing it. Wow.
It's a gap year back. Down good.
I would say someone that just came out of a gap year.
Yeah.
I literally just got out of a gap year like 6 months ago. I think if you expose your students to the different options for postgrad plans so that they know what's out there, I personally, like you were just saying with the grad application process, it was horrible. There was every single different school had a different application process. American was the one that was streamlined, which was nice that I didn't get in here. Good job. It was also 2 months later than every other application due dates. That was also nice. But it was a horrible application process. And then also I didn't really want to go into research, especially in this recent year. I had no interest in doing biomedical HIV research. And so I think if you keep your students aware of everything that they have the option to get into afterwards, whether it's academia, industry, traveling the world as a traveling scientist, any those, if they're exposed to it, it's their responsibility to follow through on. Because that's what I ended up doing.
Yeah, but that is my point. That we are doing that part.
Right.
Just they are being exposed to all of that. But then, is that increasing their confidence, or maybe?
I think right now there's no.
They are being uncertain about that.
Right now, smart confidence at all.
So maybe we can work on that part as well. So just maybe you have some activities that, okay, so think about all of these and write down something. Write it down. Just don't keep it in the background of your mind.
Do you want to
Or talk with each other about their goals.
I forgot you said 5 minutes. That's about 10 minutes ago. I get
Then
All right. So the last session of the SUGER was student poster presentation. Here is some examples. Actually, we had different students from different departments, different major. So, for example, this one was a field radio telescope for control burst detection. The other one calibrating galaxy redshift. The other student worked on predicting the date of the burst.
graduate student.
Okay.
Example.
Okay. She presented. She had a poster presentation on this subject. The other one is just using electron microscope for some mutant cells. So basically, this one is identifying the effect of a PRP inhibitor for HIV infected cell population.
She also won her top of the grade. These are good awards.
Just yeah.
And is taking a gap year.
That's my point. What are you going to even?
Well, she's getting paid during her gap.
The last one, at least, she's from chemistry, Chelsey. She tested the reactivity of the structure and function model of a unique lytic enzyme. She also published her paper as a first author in one of the most prestigious journal, Dalton Transaction. So, she worked in investor for leaders now. So you see that a wide variety of research was presented, and then this gives a good motivation to other students to continue their research and do more research.
Chelsey received a NASA award, right?
Yeah.
One of 3 or 4 of these received NASA awards. And I mean the presentation award. Yeah, that's yes.
Yep.
It's what you do. Yeah. SSCS, SSCS.
Oh, finish up. Okay. No time.
We had a high school student presenter as well. So it was there this time.
Yeah, I mean, we do not turn people away. So if, you want to come to...
But it would be good. I know we track them, the ones that are funded by the NASA CAS award. But do we know who funds most of the students? Like, do we keep track of that?
We don't. It is impossible.
Okay.
But they're a captured audience, so we could start to ask that question. We could maybe do like a little intake, a little outtake.
It'd be good to know.
It'd be good to know if they're funded or they're doing it for free. And housing is always an issue. Zuri and I had so many conversations about housing. And so I think one thing that I think in terms of contributions and commitment and support is AU giving some support. Let's do it. Okay. So that's an opportunity here. I think that'll make a huge difference, especially in this current year. Yep. So you can come to SUGER. We got the dates all set. I think we're going to invite you to be a speaker.
About the gap year.
Yeah. If you have, so we took notes. If you're interested in being, if you yourself want to be a SUGER speaker, we would love to have you. And if there's anyone in your network who you think you would like to invite, that would also be great. Anyone you think is, sort of a dynamic speaker, has an interesting story, would inspire students, all sorts of different people. And then, I guess we should end with, thanks for joining us. Thank you so much. We're happy to please fill out your